So for more on the story, we welcome Anita Friedman, the chairperson of the World WIZO organization, and she's speaking to us from Tel Aviv. Anita, thank you so much for your time. Now, a worrying statistic about a surge in domestic violence during this time across the world. Quarantine with an abusive partner must be terrifying. What kind of cases is WIZO seeing at its shelters at the moment?
Well, as you said, because of the quarantine, people are trapped in their home. Men and women and children are in like a cooker pressure situation. So we see an increase in domestic violence and abuses. Now, what we're seeing is that people don't have where to go or where to turn to. The government in this instance is not stepping up. They are very busy with the sickness and with the economic situation of this pandemic. So this is where the NGOs like WIZO come in and step in. We are seeing cases of women that have to flee their homes and they cannot come to a shelter because, as you know, we cannot put inside people that have not been tested for coronavirus. So we have to find them alternative situations, and WIZO is prepared to do that. The welfare minister came to us, and we have a facility that we're trying to use for these type of women and their children, where they can come to us and for 14 days until they get screened and they get all the help from the social workers and all the professionals. Now, the other thing that we're seeing, it's an increase on the usage of our hotlines. WIZO has a few hotlines, one for women and their children, that the increment, as you can imagine, has been tremendous. And another one, which is unique, it's a hotline for violent men. It's a very interesting hotline. It's anonymous, and it's manned by volunteers that have been taught how to professionally do this. And the director of this hotline tells us that he gets called from men that say, okay, my children are fighting in the living room and I feel like I'm becoming violent, so I have to go into my room. Or I can't stand it anymore. I feel like I'm on the verge of violence. They try to give them some tools and information, and they try to send them to wherever they can get the help. Nowadays, it's very difficult. So I think what they're mostly trying is to turn down the flames and try to help them as much as they can.
So Anita, talk to us a bit about this hotline. When you say that men are calling in and they're expressing their frustration with the current uncertainty, what kind of response has there been in terms of authorities? Are they called in to also speak to people to try and quell the kind of tensions that exist in certain homes?
Unfortunately, that's the situation right now. It's very difficult because these men they're anonymous, and we have no way of knowing if after these calls they reach out and they get the help they need. As I said, they've been manned 24/7, these lines, because the upsurge and the callings have increased tremendously, as you can imagine. This is something that we have all year round, but now, of course, it's more in use. Now, the other initiative that we have is for women that have left the shelters. You know, women stay in our shelters between 6 and 12 months to get prepared for life afterwards. And then they go to apartments in between where we take care of them and we make sure that they have a job and they integrate into normal life. So what's happening now is that these women are at a very vulnerable type of situation. They are the first ones to be let go from our jobs, and mostly their partners, their ex-husbands, stop paying also for the kids because they've also been let off. So we're trying to raise funds to make sure that these women don't go hungry and that they have everything, the basis that we all take for granted. So that's the other initiative we're having.
Thank you so much. Anita Friedman, the chairperson of World WIZO organization, speaking to us from Tel Aviv. We appreciate your time and thank you for the work that you and your volunteers are doing.